An SABC News presentation.
Good morning and a warm welcome to this Friday morning's edition of A View from the House. I'm Nkandla. Today we look at questions to President Jacob Zuma in the National Assembly. There were 6 questions on the order paper. We look at 2 of those questions in today's program, but we'll recap on remaining questions in Monday's program. We look at a question on the funding and the budget for the Nkandla Mlalazi Smart Growth Center, and our second question deals with the impact of the Marikana shooting tragedy on nation building. Let's go to our first question. The town of Nkandla is a typical Northern KwaZuluNatal rural town. It's sparsely populated with a grocery shop, a welfare office, a tavern and some struggling vendors. But this may all change. It is in for a big revamp. But soon after the announcement that the Nkandla Mlalazi's growth center is to be developed, questions were raised. That's because the village is close to the President Nkandla residence. The leader of the opposition, Lindwe Mazubuko, also wondered why Nkandla was chosen out of so many other needy districts. She asked whether the president, as part of his comprehensive rural development program, instructed his ministers to find funding and a budget for the center. President Zuma said he did not instruct anyone to provide funding. The Department of Rural Development and Land Reform was, however, supporting the initiative with the detailed planning of the Nkandla initiative and had developed the model of the Smart Center.
To date, no other national department have made commitments to the delivery of facilities and infrastructure on the site. The Smart Center is part of the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government's program of the revival of small rural towns and the formalization of rural unplanned towns and urban settlements. The towns include Ndumo, Manguzi, Msinga, Mbumbulu, Nkandla, Charlestown, Jozini, Ngwavuma, Tututu, Winan, and Colenso. It is important to emphasize that even at a national level, Nkandla is not the only district that is receiving attention for rural development. There are actually 23 districts identified by government for interventions due to deep levels of poverty.
The president said similar and other facilities were being built or were being planned in rural areas across the nation.
Government is doing a lot more throughout the country, even beyond the few districts I have mentioned. It is a pity that only Nkandla seems to generate such interest.
Opposition leader Lindwe Mazubuko had a supplementary question. She wanted to know why the Nkandla area had been identified while so many other places close by were in desperate need of development.
It has been widely reported that a total of 2 billion rand is going to be spent on building the Mlalazi Nkandla Smart Center just 3 kilometers away from the Honorable President's homestead in Nkandla. 1 billion rand of this amount is set to come from the government's coffers. Yet, within a 100-kilometer radius of Nkandla, in places like Amasango, Amnyama, Ebizimali, and Ekuteni, there are still people who live without the most basic services like water and electricity. Now, I hear the Honorable President talking about the rural development nodes, but we know that there have been reports of other government departments like the Department of Agriculture, who've provided up to 800 million rand for this project. It's surprising that the Honorable President didn't mention these in his reply. Mr. Speaker, can the President justify the spending of 2 billion rand in one area, an area that just happens to be 3 kilometers away from his own homestead, while other areas within 100 kilometers in the province of KwaZulu-Natal are without the most basic services? And why was this area identified when others are so desperately in need?
Well, I hope the honorable member could explain to me why should people at Nkandla, 3 kilometers away from where Zuma stays, must starve? Why must they be isolated? Why should others who are in other areas be more important than those? Are they different people? Should they be punished because they are neighbors to Zuma? I don't think so. I think it's not a correct approach. Nkandla is one of the well-known areas that is poverty-stricken in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, of the few areas. If you count Msinga, you count Nkandla, you count Wanongoma, there are very few places, and Nkandla is one of them. Why should it be ostracized and be made to suffer simply because Zuma comes from there? Zuma grew up in that area, poverty-stricken. And I don't think there can be a conference that seeks to decide which area must development go. Development goes where it goes at a given time. That is why I gave, to help you, this list of these areas throughout the country. So there's not only one country. There are many, many other places. There are many other places that are being attended to.
We have more questions and answers on the Nkandla Growth Smart Center after the break. Stay with us.